All right, welcome to the Monday Night Men's Forum. This happens every week, and we just, nobody's been watching, so,
Go live and you froze up.
oh man, stupid hotel Wi-Fi, whatever. I'm Matt at Farm Hop Life. Tonight we got Homestead of Pain, Grant, and
Hello.
Scott, Thriving the Future podcast, and Homestead Padre
Hey, all right.
of Smith. It's not Smith Homestead anymore. It is Old Paths Homestead.
That's right. Rebranded.
Cool. How you guys been?
Good. Have you?
Doing good. That's what we're here to talk about. So let's go around quick. Let's start with Grant because his is going to take the longest time.
I'll try to keep it short and sweet, but
You know you won't.
I know I will. I'll keep it long again.
All right. What's been going on with Grant? It's been 4, 5, 6 weeks. I don't remember.
I got another cow. Been continually horse trading livestock back and forth. We've been getting a lot of progress done at the farm. This past week, we hatched out about 16 ducks, about 37 chickens. Got more in the incubator. I quit my job, got a job. So I was working at Pike Distribution up in Ringgold, Georgia. Awful management. The manager is superb. He's a horticulturalist. He knows what he's doing. My supervisor was not great. When I left, there were several other people that decided to leave. There was a bit of a shakeup going on. The guy who deserved the assistant manager position, who kept the entire 5 acres of greenhouses running, essentially got shafted. So he left. Then I started working for this landscape supply company. Got a bunch of stuff there. I got some cuttings from a willow tree. They threw away about 14 fig trees and about 30 hydrangeas that I brought home. Tons of other stuff. I got a free bench. I got like 2 tons of flagstone that were free. I'm still in talk with the manager there because the guy sold out. When I told him I was leaving to go work for the city, he sent me home immediately that day because he got mad. And so I got to go back and get these. They're these 8-foot by 4-foot shelves that plants get shipped in on. And I can either turn those into a makeshift greenhouse or use those to transport plants myself, and that'd be fantastic. So then I went and started working at the city of Rome, and I can't tell you, it's been fun. It's city work. You can't beat city work. You clock in, you sit around, you go work, you drag around your lunch break at a certain time, about 2:30, you go back, you wait till 3:30. Today, I wore my hat and shirt to the school plant sale, and I ended up running into a nice lady. I didn't even know she was from the city, and I just started talking to her. And apparently, when I talk about plants in a greenhouse setting, I am particularly impressive. So she made some very nice comments, and then
Impressive with autistic.
Yeah, okay. I sound very autistic, but autistic enough where I sound smart. And so I took her outside and I showed her the landscape of the school. And, because the school landscape's not incredible, but there are some very key plants that are very easy maintenance. They're mounding perennials, and they will do good for the landscape. Instead of planting a mass planting of spring annuals that look tired and dead by the end of summer, you're planting perennials that are coming up before it's even time to plant your spring annuals. So you're using less mulch, less plants, and less labor for maintenance. And she was very impressed when I said that I'm the landscaper. She says, "Oh, I've heard of you." And that's, always kind of a questionable thing to hear from someone.
Reputation precedes him.
And it is not the first time. And we went to go look for the nursery to buy the greenhouses. She had already heard about me before I had ever even been. And I never even met the lady before. And so it's good. And she had thrown around that the city planning commission is talking about putting up a greenhouse for the city, and then that needs a manager. They had kind of thrown around that the city arborist is retiring in 3 or 4 years. So she had said it seems like my position is quite fluid at the moment. And I get to basically set my own job description, which is very lovely. And you can't beat 401k, pension, free health clinic, fantastic insurance, life insurance, 3.02 vacation days a month, 11 government holidays,
3.2.
3.02789. It's a ridiculous number. It's going to be very good. Something that will keep me going while doing the, growing protein, starting the plant nursery, everything like that. It will pretty much set me up and keep some sort of cash flow while building, the lifestyle we want.
Aren't you getting married like here soon?
I'm getting married in like 42 days. There is so much on my plate. Destiny left Pike when I did, and she's been knocking out plant stuff, planting seeds, potting up things, all the stuff I'm bringing home. She's planting it. So the goal is to use all the plant material I've collected over the last 4 years to landscape the wedding, and more. So I've got a few hundred plants to dig up and pot up. We're gonna have layers for the plant material, so it's just gonna cover a huge area of space. And my goal is to use the wedding as a launch pad for the closest people to me to understand what we're trying to do and to keep us in mind.
Get married in the greenhouse at the university.
Yeah, we had thought about getting married and buying a new like farmer's friend greenhouse, and Dad was talking about building a chapel on top of it, like a steeple, welding it, doing all that. And then we just had so much other. So we've been doing land clearing. That's too much money right now. We've got more important things to do. And like as soon as the wedding's over, we're gonna go full production onto meat chickens, and we're gonna hit it hard.
Nice, dude. That's a badass update. Thanks for sharing. And it only took 7 minutes. That's fine.
That was probably as short as I could have kept it.
I love it. Let's see, Scott. What's been up?
So I planted 5 hazelnuts and a bunch of pawpaw trees this evening, and I'll be very sore tomorrow morning.
Because you're doing all perennials now, right? That's your thing. No more annuals.
No, I do some annuals.
Oh, okay.
It's refreshing to see perennials. I go out to the garden and I've got perennials coming up, before I even plant anything. So that's good. I really like Bloody Dock Swirl.
I don't do it. I want to know, but
I know.
What the heck was that?
Beer cake in my room as a table, and someone hit it with a broom.
Man. Yeah.
All right. I think that's time's up. Next person. That's the bell.
That's funny.
What?
So you're also doing your grow nut trees, right?
Yeah,
that's good.
So,
that's been working pretty good for you, right?
Yeah, that was my main source of income last year, and that did really, really well. And then, that's my main side hustle income,
right?
And then it pays for everything else. And then I've just rolled out a new site, allgardenadvice.com. It's one of those ones I bought off Flippa, and then I rewrote all the content, almost like 90% of the content throughout the AI content, and changed a bunch of the graphics. So it's got a lot of the long form stuff, companion planting, milpa, all that stuff. So check it out.
I still want to write you that article on lay rooting, but I'm going to do it. I still have it on my to-do list because I want to know more about the stuff you're doing on Flippa, because I would like to do a blog-esque type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to get proper step-by-step pictures so I can make it worthwhile.
Yeah, I've got a autumn olive that is like growing sideways, and it's almost touching the ground. And
Is
the
that
side, Elaeagnus. What?
I know Elaeagnus is sometimes called like autumn olive.
Yeah, I don't know. It's autumn olive, and
is it a Russian variety?
something like that. But it's
Okay.
it's sending up shoots off the other side. So I'm just going to pile some dirt around it and root it that way, and stool root it.
It
So,
is
yep, that's what I'm going to try this year.
Eleagnus umbellula.
Yep. Yeah, it's really good.
Very
It makes
nice.
good. It makes a good oxymel stuff to take when you have a cold. It's
Okay.
really high in lycopene.
It grows like weeds down here. I mean, hedgerows 8 feet
Yep.
tall. Okay, I didn't. I knew
Autumn olive.
Yeah, it's Eleagnus.
Yeah, it's like banned in some states because it
Yes.
outperforms everything else.
Yeah, it is very good in
Those are my
dried
favorite.
bouquets, dried out bouquets and live bouquets. It's very good as a foliage. I didn't know I had fun uses like that.
Yeah, the berries are really good. They're really high in vitamin C, and the red ones are really high in lycopene.
Also known as Japanese silverberry. Cool.
Yep.
Sweet. Little tip. Awesome. Thank you. Padre, you're going to farmers markets and then not allowed in. This is fun.
Man, the last 2 weeks. So, I won't name the farmers market. So the mayor, it's run by the city. So the mayor has been blasting me for 4 weeks now about coming and setting up because the main produce peddler, they shut down. And I decided to step up and take the reins for our market. Then that market found out about it because they did that market also. So I had the mayor of the city messaging me, emailing me every week. Hey, bring produce. Can you bring produce this week? Are you going to bring produce this week? So 2 weeks ago, it's finally like, yeah, I'll bring produce. So we get out there, and I'd informed her ahead of time I need a 30-foot space. Like I need room for 3 tents, right? I get out there, nothing, nowhere for me to set up. But I did arrive a little bit later than planned, so I was like, okay, it's my fault. So I turned around and went back. Same thing last week. Hey, are you going to bring produce this week? It's like, sure, I'll bring produce this week. So we get out there Friday, and again, there's no room for us to set up anywhere. I could put a table here and a table there and a table over here, but I wasn't trying to split my produce stand up into 3 small stands. So I turned around and left, and shot them an email, sitting at a red light, and like, we enjoyed your market last year. Glad you've grown so much, but take me off your email list. I'm not doing that. So it's a 40-minute drive one way to get there. So that's how that went. Yeah, I took over produce for our market. So I have quadrupled my grow area here on the farm. I have put garden space everywhere I can find to put garden space that's not entirely up under oak trees. Then, yeah, that's about it. I've planted hundreds of plants just in the last week. Tomatoes, squash, cucumbers, all those lovely annuals that everybody's getting away from. But, those are the hot commodities at the market.
Yeah.
Didn't you plant a bunch of stuff and then a freeze came in?
Yeah. I had an entire greenhouse full. I had 1,000 seeds planted of vegetables. Then I had another 3,000 seeds planted of amaranth, and I lost it all in the cold snap that came through 2 weeks ago.
3,000. Wow.
It does not ever drop below freezing in March here. It's you looked at the weather reports and the weathermen were like, this doesn't happen. This is record-setting cold for us. It's getting down in the 40s tonight, and it's April. That doesn't happen here at all. So it's a weird year for the weather. But yeah, that's about it. I did make a deal that I thought would make Grant proud of me. I traded 10 bars of soap for a baby goat.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. He DM'd me the full detail. It was good.
Did I do good? Yeah, you did good.
Yeah. I mean,
Bars of soap for a goat.
I
That is a Grant style deal.
I got
And,
$3 I'm like, why are you just giving them away? And they gave them to me, and I just took them to sale. Took them to the sale. All the other coals just took it to the sale. The hustling livestock has been so much fun, so worth it.
Yeah, you've got a regular story problem life there. I bought 10 goats and I sold 2 of them, and then I traded for another 5, and then you end up with like $300, and it's like, how much did he actually?
$300 a cow and a good milk goat.
Yeah.
yeah, so I finally got hundreds of stakes put in the ground, finished up today. And then now I get to spend tomorrow putting nets over top of everything because they're calling for bad hailstorms on Wednesday.
That won't show.
When it rains, it pours. Long story.
When you make your life by the weather, you kind of
Yeah, that's right.
All right. You want me to go now?
Yeah, long story. It's been a long time, dude. Yeah, busy.
Busy.
Well, I got my my day job. I got to keep that going. So, but yeah, we're working on the store. Some opened yet. Next is a rough end for plumbing, electrical, and mechanicals, which hopefully will be in the next couple weeks. And work on that. We've got about 200 meat chickens on the ground right now. We had our first litter of piglets this year, so we've got 6 piglets that were just castrated the boys on Saturday, and getting ready to move them out of a training pen we set up for them to train on electric. So lots of pork on hand. Some whole chickens will be available this coming Sunday or Monday. We'll harvest them on Saturday. So we're getting it done. A lot of help from my kids, and family affair. Got a web store up and running. So that's we got our first order last week. So
But
we're
listen,
getting there.
homesteading is a fad.
Game might be bad.
Yeah.
Anybody listening to this that's near Long Story, his meat is superb. Right, I've had some. And Scott, I just realized you're the only person in this room that I have not met in person yet.
Get to it, you two. Long story. I was scrolling through really quick through your profile. I was curious if you had posted any photos of the progress on the store yet, but it doesn't look like you have.
I did post some but probably a couple months ago once we had the floor.
Okay.
We had to redo the floor, so that was like the big hold up. It was both a technical hold up from the point of view of the additional work that had to be done, but also financially it just was a hit we weren't expecting. So
Right.
it was all heart pine joist, and so I've got a huge pile of salvage lumber from that, but we did have to replace the floor, so had to demo that. And put in some drainage. There's some water problems that we didn't know about. We knew there was moisture, but we thought it was just because there's no vapor barrier, but it was worse than that. So we had some work to do there. It's always like that with these old buildings. This building is based on the historical records and stuff, apparently constructed in 1941, but that space in that block has been occupied since at least the late 1800s.
Wow.
So that brickwork is old, and there's just some issues you have to work through with these old buildings. It was a shock a little bit, to the wallet, but it wasn't unexpected that we would find something, So,
Sure.
But anyway,
Now this space, is it just going to be a butcher shop, or are you also going to have like processing going on in the back? Kind of like I think Jake Wolke in Australia. I think he does something like that.
well, we won't really do butcher. What we're going to do is we're going to have our farm products and other farm products that we'll sell in the store, and we're going to have a zero waste refillery. So we should be able to offer almost like a grocery store. You walk in and you can buy almost everything you need for dinner. So we're hoping that's going to pull traffic in for people in the actual town. in the city of Newberry that can stop going to Walmart and Food Lion. Those are the two big chains we have for some of those basic staples. So, we'll carry some local rice and grits and flours and stuff like that. And then we'll have some stuff that's not local, like, olive oil and vinegar and those kind of things, personal care products. Some locally made soaps, produce, microgreens, cut flowers, raw dairy. So at least those things.
That sounds awesome, dude. Do you have an ETA on when you're trying to open?
Just getting through the permitting for the electrical and mechanicals and plumbing. That's the main issue right now.
So you're probably several months away.
I don't know if it's going to be that long. I mean, if everything we've got to do is going to be short, but we just have to get it moving. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say anything. I'm frustrated about some aspects of the process, but I'll refrain from commenting.
Maybe after we're done here, we can hear the real story.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. For everybody that isn't in this little group here, get the dirty details.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't want to.
Well, that's exciting
about the city. It's just been less accommodating than we expected. So I'm looking for a little more help. But I'll tell you guys more about it. Yeah.
All right. Nice. So after the last men's forum, I think I did one other podcast or interview, and I took a little bit of a hiatus. Went to one family vacation with my side, and then just got back last week from another vacation with my wife's mom. It was like her 70th birthday, so we drove over to the Washington coast, and it's just like between those two things, I was also out of town for work, and so had a lot of things had to take a back seat. Things, the podcast, and also things at home. But one thing I did manage to sneak in was clearing out tons of sage from one side of the yard, and I went in and raked out like the overgrown grass, and then spread grass seed, stuff that I actually want, that I don't have to really water. It's like a dryland pasture mix with added legumes. And then I took that grass that I raked and spread it back over the grass seed to...
Is that the custom eggs you had ordered?
It wasn't necessarily custom, but yeah, it was...
Very region-specific.
Region-specific, that's right. So hopefully all that works. And I have a crap load of it left. So I thought about... because I only end up doing like 1/4 of an acre, but the minimum was 50 pounds, and that does 3 acres worth. So I'm probably going to do more later, and then also maybe try to sell some, get some of my money back on Craigslist. But yeah, that's really the big thing. I got to push hard when I get back from work to build those raised beds, because we're starting over again. Yeah, no chickens kind of makes things easy. We got a pregnant cat, so that's fun.
I didn't know that's the type of protein you were into.
Cats are good protein.
What I was going to say, if you're looking for garden beds, at the city, they're going to throw them away. I got 11 old skid steer and track hoe tires, like tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like an 8-foot circle worth of a garden bed. So if people just try to give them away. If you've got any old farmer that's got a pile of them laying, that's pretty much instant raised beds.
I'm taking old siding, not siding, sorry, it's metal roofing, and I cut it. I'm going to have 4 foot by 2 foot, and I cut it down the middle. So they're only going to be, I don't know, whatever that is, like 15 inches high.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to frame it in wood. I'm going to do it that way.
What are you cutting it with?
I tried to do the skill saw method, and I am terrible at it. So I bought a stack of grinder wheels and taking it down that way.
I'm gonna send you a link after this. I just bought a tool off of Amazon. It hooks to your drill.
I've seen these.
Yeah, and it cuts right, and it works wonders. It's the most amazing tool I've ever bought for the farm. Works wonders.
I want a grinder blade to break and hit me right in the face. So
That's
as long as I get it on video,
yeah, it's money to get it on video.
Yeah, that's right.
I've got. I think I know what you're talking about, Joseph. That it's like the little snipper type tool that connects to like an impact driver or something like that.
Yeah, it's got 2 wheels. It almost looks like a can opener.
Okay, I've got something different. Okay, I've got the one. The Walt has one that you connect to the impact driver. It's got 2 blades like a shears. So that thing is similar in its effectiveness. I really like.
I've seen both.
Yeah. That wheel.
Yeah,
sounds like give that a try.
Yeah, it looks just like a big can opener, and it works like one too. But it's great. It's completely I've been using 10 snips for years.
What'd you pay for it?
$25, I think. It wasn't much.
25?
Yeah, it wasn't much.
Okay. Nice. Very nice. Okay, so after all that, the topic tonight, refocus. So after being gone for so long from doing like podcast stuff, it kind of like gave me time to think about like what is it I'm actually trying to do here. And I try a little bit of this, try a little bit of that, try a little bit of this, and like things just weren't really working. And so like, all right, I need to stop trying to do all these stupid little things and really get into what's working. And one thing that I noticed Scott has been doing, he's been putting out really good content on his podcast lately, doubling down on articles, and he's been lining things up really nicely. I've been very impressed lately, and
it's been fantastic.
I even messaged him like, your hard work is not gone unnoticed. Like I can see it.
It's been fantastic. The seed episode that I had done that really kind of got me, you reposted it, and I listened to it, talked me into getting the book, and then it put me on a whole spurge of, kicked my seed saving into a whole different level. A completely different aspect I didn't think of is with him having his naturalized seeds, his region. It made me think, it made something make sense. This old farmer that I know, he had some tomato seeds, and he's been saving these exact same seeds for the last 30 years. He'd take his best tomato, save the seeds from it for the last 30 years. And he started to get different shapes, different colors, blended colors, all these different types of, genetic differences in his tomato seeds from just constantly using the same tomato over 20 years. It started to get pretty funky. And I'm like, well, that's pretty much where we should be going to. And then the dock, I got that blood dock. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, bloody dock is cool, and it's got a lemony taste. Yeah, Joseph Lofthouse, he's just, I thought it was funny. He's even saving seeds based on whether the raccoons eat it or not.
I'm like, ain't no
raccoon resistant.
That makes sense,
Yeah, I guess your timeline is, if you have as much time, man, I can't remember. I did listen to that episode, but there was something that he said about one specific characteristic of a seed that he ended up not saving, but it was kind of something was hairy. There was something that was hairy.
Hairy squash.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
And he never planted it again.
No, but that was really weird.
I have a guy near me that I've become friends with, and on Easter Sunday, I went to church with him, and he introduced me to a couple of people that have given him seeds, and these people are all in their like 80s, 90s, and they had seeds that were, have been basically their landrace heirlooms from that region that have been grown in that region for 200 years. I posted about it a couple years ago, but we've found just from like, I bought a watermelon at a farmer's market that had it had ribbing like a pumpkin. They call them sutures. And that's a feature of a watermelon developed by the Summer brothers at Pomeria Nursery there, not far from where I am, back in the antebellum period. And people have not been able to find that exact watermelon. There's like Odell's. It's very similar. The white-seeded watermelon with sutures, flavor characteristics, all that stuff. Thickness of the rind all matches up. You may have like rediscovered like this old heirloom that was created in the mid 1800s.
Cool.
And along with other seeds.
Awesome. Did you grow it, and have you like successfully?
We're planting them this year.
Okay, you've got to keep us posted on that. I'd buy a singular seed just to give it a shot. That
$1,800 a seed.
I'll pay it. I mean, wow,
yeah, it's pretty neat.
Stuff like
the guy that I bought it from was this guy. His name's Robert Miller, a black gentleman that's been growing watermelons in the city forever. And I said, why'd you plant these white seed watermelon? Where'd you get them? He's like, I don't know, man. I just had them like in my freezer or something, and a couple of hills didn't come up, so I don't know what they're crossed with. So we might get some total. You have no idea what you're going to get. But the white seed, a lot of the characteristics, the seed characteristic, that's what made me think of it. The white seed that has like two little dark eyes, that's one of the characteristics described in the journals or whatever. And so you find these like pure white seeds, that's not the right thing, right? So you're looking for these very distinctive differences in just shape or coloring of the seed within a variety that's making the difference. So I didn't hear the episode, Scott, so sorry if I'm retracing all around there.
That's pretty cool. Thanks.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that I had land-raised tomatoes. For the last 4 years, these little purple and red cherry tomatoes have been growing up by the air conditioner, which is covered in a periwinkle vine that I can't kill, and I hate it. And they've been growing up through the azaleas. The azaleas are about 5 feet tall, so it's growing straight up through the azaleas, right next to the air conditioning vent, out competing the vine. And I got more tomatoes off of those than I did the 100 I planted that I got given from school. Now, I think those seeds I got from school, those are burpee seeds, and it has even cemented the fact I will never buy a seed from a different company that I've been buying seeds from. And I'll never do it. I'll never buy another seed from anywhere else because those seeds were legitimately terrible, produced a terrible crop.
Well, one of the things with the seeds is, and I got turned on to this thought from the John Kemp podcast, but the epigenetic side of things, like in other words, there's genetic material that some genes are turned on, some are turned off. So what you might be seeing in some of these land races is, a certain gene expression is turned on by certain conditions within the climate where you are. It might grow completely differently in a different type of soil or climate. It might have less nodes, less seeds per pod, whatever it is. That can be completely different. That's really interesting stuff, man.
Yep. Grant, what's my catchphrase?
These have memories.
That's right.
And I've got landrace flowers that, I didn't really, very new to the whole permaculture thing, more so than the horticulture side of it, is I've got, swamp mallow. It's an annual hardy hibiscus. It's basically the same characteristics as okra, except instead of being 3-4 inches long, it's about 1.5 inches. And it's about as round as a quarter or like $0.50. It's like a strawberry shaped okra. And, but it produces these beautiful flowers, and they've come up in my yard the last 3 years. The place I got them, they've come up in the yard for the past 20. Then I have some celosia, just like from the market. They've had it coming up in the yard for the last 10 years. I got some. It's been coming up in my yard for the last 4. It produces so many seeds. Celosia's in the amaranth family, so you can eat the leaves as well. I planted a jar about 80,000 seeds. I just cast them in the yard because that's what I harvested off about 3 flowers with about 80,000 seeds. And it's crazy. I love it. I get so enthusiastic.
How do you determine what it is that you go after, because you get a lot of opportunities to do a lot of things, but you can't do it all. As much as you want to do it all, you can't do it all. So how is it that you say no to things and you can focus on what gets you results?
Does Grant say no to anything?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I can't tell if Matt is personally asking me this question.
Sure.
He's asking everybody.
I'm asking everybody, but you were talking, so you get to go first.
How do I say no? It depends if I like the person or not. Mainly, if I don't like them, I'll say no. But I really don't say no that much, because it's like, if I say no, I might miss out on this. In the time span I worked at this place, the landscape supply company, for 2 weeks. Screw it, I'll go work there. I'm so young, I can make so many mistakes right now. I have that opportunity to stumble, scrape a knee, get back on it. And I had so much unbelievable success. I'm talking to these people who, I'm throwing down information, and they're picking it up. They're eating it up. There's some people come in. The landscape supply company was very good for natives. They had a lot of things. I had a lot of people come in with that permaculture mindset, with that native mindset. And, I sold the guy weeds out of my yard. I legitimately sold the guy a perennial weed out of my yard, and he wanted, 100 of them. I sold the same perennial weed out of my yard to another lady, because these weeds are medicinal. They're good for headaches. They're very good shady wet weather ground cover, and they're beautiful, but they've been treated as a pest and a weed that they get basically herbicide to death. And if you let these things grow and get big enough, tell people they're a flower, they're a flower. I don't really say no to anything. You get good deals. Like Padre had mentioned, people complaining about, that person said about the chickens. They got baby chickens, and they didn't know how to tell how hot or warm to make them. There's a difference between saying yes to something you can't handle versus saying yes to something and then making sure you get it done.
Sure.
There's a lot of things I've probably said yes to that I shouldn't have. I've said yes to a lot of things. I have a constant to-do list. I have to constant, what I call errands that I have to run that are completely unnecessary, but that give me something to bid. I've got to go pick up 14 8-foot by 4-foot wooden shelves. I don't really have a great way to transport those. I'll have to go out of my way to get them, but in the long run, it will benefit me. The quotes I'm giving, I have been requested to stop getting them because I have so many, but I say yes because one day that resource to me is going to stop becoming unlimited, and it's going to become a limited resource that costs money, which costs me time. So it's very much hoarding, and I use them. I think of it as preps. Anything I do, I think of it in the mindset of prep. If I got to spend $400 on 3 acres of cover crop, which is a very niche, very specific cover crop that's expensive, trefoil is expensive, burdock is expensive. These are expensive perennials, but if I plant an acre with it and I don't touch that acre for a full year, it may go to flower twice, seed the rest of my property, and I'll be good. I feel like I got completely off track. I don't say no.
I will say this though, like you're young yet, so you might be able to get away with it. But what I've heard is if what you say yes to now, you're saying no to something later because you've made this commitment now. So people that say no, they're actually more available to say yes to the things that they actually want to do later.
True. So, but I would always say, with me being so young, like this, I'm going to talk to my boss this Friday to see if I can either clock out for a long lunch or let him or see if I can do it on the clock, because I've been requested to speak with about a dozen older ladies in the community who are ahead of one of the gardening clubs that have a plot within the city, and it's an opportunity I could say no to.
Sure.
But is that an extremely important way for me to network? There was a soils class my teacher taught, and Keith Mickler, he's the extension agent for Floyd County. He was putting it on through the Georgia Gardeners, and I decided to go. I'm not going to waste my Saturday. Let's go. We're not going to sleep late. We're not going to dilly-dally. We'll do farm work later. So I did this soils class, and I had said some things, because everywhere I go, there is no permaculture mindset when you're talking to older gardeners, older farmers, older horticulture educators. They don't have the mindset of permaculture. They just don't. It's very much industrial agriculture. Tilling your garden under every single year. There's the sentiment of adding organic material, but it's not build that organic material up above the soil so you have more moisture retention.
Mm-hmm.
I was very loud, very vocal. I very much responded to people's questions when they weren't, addressed to me. And he pulled my teacher aside at the end, and he told me that I was impressive. And, he had told me this secondhand. Keith has been nominated the head extension agent of the United States, which I didn't know at the time. But he is that's an extremely heavy compliment that, I'm deeply grateful for. But if I had said no to that engagement, I wouldn't have, been able to interact with those people.
Sure.
If I skip this engagement, it's a give and take. It's always a give and take. When there are,
I guess it's like, how much of a commitment is it? So like for that,
Yeah.
It was just a Saturday. That's not that bad.
Yeah, I don't really take on huge, other than animal commitments, which those are the only large commitments that if you fumble, you fumble. If you have animals and they're pregnant and you do not give them the sufficient nutrients they need, you're either going to have nutrient deficient kids. They are going to have to be bottle fed because they have white muscle disease from a selenium deficiency, or they're going to be stillbirth and the mother's going to die from stress. Animal commitments are different.
Sure.
The second you get a milk cow, the second you get dairy, you have committed your long-term time to that animal. That is the only serious long-term commitments I give. I don't promise my word to many people unless it's family.
Anybody else want to chime in on that?
I just want to ask if y'all noticed how Grant kept flexing his age on us middle-aged guys.
I'm waiting for him to get in trouble from the city when they tell him to settle down, boy. We're here for another 20 years.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think, I've got a, my big commitment is the day job, which is, like a 60 to 70 hour a week commitment, usually on the higher side of that range. And doesn't leave a lot of time for other things. So there's, and I still have other things I want to do other than the farm. So, participate in my church community, things like that. So I have to be a lot more choosy about what I bring onto the farm. You were talking about getting rid of the chickens earlier in the year. I saw that, you kind of, I guess you quoted that thread, and I weighed in and said we sold our goats last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, we got pygmy goats. They were pets. I mean, they really weren't, other than the fact that they bred like rabbits, they weren't really providing anything to us. We weren't milking them. We weren't eating them. And they were getting out of their enclosure. They were eating fruit trees when they got out. It was not something that was productive. It was taking a chore time away from doing something bigger and better, or something that's going to at least bring in money. And, we sold goats over a period of time. We ended up, I don't know if we ever made money on them, but we came out okay. I think I sold the last of them for around $1,000. And, but the thing is that freed up space, it freed up fencing materials, it freed up, hay that was being used. But more than that, it freed up a lot of time from my kids who help me with the chores, and freed up me from having to go, figure out how'd they get out this time, and have to go figure out how to fix a fence again.
Kind of think like a goat. Think like a goat.
Yeah.
Think like a goat.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes the goats are extra special. They really are.
Well,
we
had the right breed, right? If we'd had a good meat breed or a good dairy breed or something, but we had pygmies. They're fine. They're great for homestead.
That's what that's why I'm such a goat supporter. I don't believe goats are meant for 90% of the people that own them, because most people, and they don't hold them to breed standards. And that's what I think everything nowadays. But, my sentiment is the opposite. We run, meat goats bigger than me. And, these guys, my goal is, I would say, the quickest thing to get us to cash flow with what I know is running 24 head of goats, selling kids twice a year to the meat market, or to cut them up and then sell them individually as packaged meat. That's like, one of the biggest, even if you're not making, $20,000 a year, if you're making 10, 8 of that is pure, profit. Even if it's half, that's just more money you get that can go back into the farm.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely see a place for some sort of ruminant, whether it's sheep or goats, in the future of our farm. It's just that I would want to get the right breed for that, and put them in the right part of the farm. Like, we've got a ton of privet, which is basically alfalfa.
They love it.
Tree.
They love.
I could go chop and drop whatever, let them go through whatever they can't reach, chop and drop, and rotate them through that. I probably wouldn't have to buy a single stick of hay. I mean, they would just feed off of the privet.
And the thing is, if you coppice it
and kudzu,
okay, that if you were to coppice that, I am very tempted to purposely transplant privet to specific places on the farm. Just
your ancestors are that's a blood memory, man. Your ancestors are.
I'm like, but it's like, this is an extremely invasive kudzu. I want, and my dad's gonna hate it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I want an 8x8 square of kudzu in the middle of each paddock, and I'm gonna plant it full of kudzu. And by the time that rotation they're due to come through, they're going to be able to eat that kudzu that grows through the fence, and they won't be able to eat it to the ground. So that kudzu will just come up, pull that nutrients from deep down, and they get to eat it. And it's just another perennial food source that you really won't have to worry about.
There's a guy up in North Carolina that's grazing cattle on kudzu.
I've heard of kudzu bales. I wanted to bale it because I'm like, it's so fantastic for nutrients, specifically for goats, because they love it. And
there's actually no kudzu down here where I live.
Really?
There's none. Like, last time I went to North Carolina last year, I almost grabbed some and brought them with me last time I went to North Carolina. The long story, I highly recommend sheep. Everybody knows that. They're so much easier to take care of than goats. But
I think that's what we do.
You made an important point on getting rid of the goats because they became such a chore. And I tell people all the time, we used to run a herd of about 25 animals. We now have 3 goats, 2 sheep, and working on a 3rd sheep. And I think that's perfect size for our farm. So, a lot of people are shocked with how small my herd is now. Honestly, we got down to 2 animals over the winter. Okay. And so we still, because we do eat ours. So they do serve a purpose, but management wise, it's just, you got to do what you can manage.
There's a lady I used to work with, sorry to cut in, but she has 3 ewes and 1 ram, and she eats every single kid that drops, male or female. She she raised them up, she sends them to the processor, and she loves her sheep. She loves to eat it, and she doesn't even keep retention ewes. She specifically uses them, breeds them, eats them, and that's very. If you're looking to do that on a smaller scale to feed for sustenance for your family, that's a great way to do it. You don't need a large herd. You don't need to run 24 goats to suffice the meat market through a cattle barn.
Yeah, I think for us, this is something I actually, a friend of mine who's a farmer, he's the guy we bought our piglets from, and he's really heavy into sheep right now. He's got really good genetics. We probably would start with his genetics. He's got some parasite resistant hair, mostly they're hair sheep, so Catadine and black belly Bermuda and stuff like that. So, but anyway, when I was worried about losing my job over the vaccine mandate, I paid him to come down and consult with me on what would we do with our property, what could our land do. And he said, you need to be selling 100 hogs a year, and you need to have a herd where you're basically selling 400 sheep or goats a year. And
that's industrial.
Yeah, well, that would be looking at our land, he felt like we could support that. And the thing is, that would be basically maybe not quite replacing my income, but that would be a full-time, if I lost my job, what would I do? That's what we would be thinking about.
You hit it. You hit it hard. I mean, harvesting 100 hogs a year, that alone is impressive. Then on top of that, managing 400.
We're doing about 30 a year right now. That's not, that's small, but it's
not too far away.
Yeah. I mean, it's very possible we would just be selling, enough hogs that we would be quickly up to that, 50 to 70, very, very quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say, you made the point, the Catadine or Katahdin or however you pronounce that breed.
I'm probably.
I think it's Katahdin.
The Katahdin's what I raise because, it's again important to pick your breed. I don't want to deal with shearing sheep. Yep. So the Katahdin's a hair breed. We had an old fence out there. We removed all of it except 2 posts and a stretch of fence so that she can rub up against it and get the hair off after the winter. But you got to pick what the Katahdin's great for the South. They handle heat and humidity so well. They don't grow wool. You don't have to worry about the shearing aspect of it. They're a fantastic meat breed. And I have grown to love mutton myself. So I can eat sheep all the time and be perfectly happy. So yeah,
you get lettuce and tomato sandwich when it's nice and lean.
I had a Scottish pie at the Highland Games last year. It was just mutton and some spices baked in a pastry, and it was so freaking good.
Sounds good.
I think I've ever had mutton, so
it was. I highly recommend it. But no, it was. You gotta be specific. That's the reason I tell people I got sheep. They're like, oh, you make your own wool. I'm like, no, I don't want to fool with. I don't have time to fool with that. So
yeah, hair sheep are the way to go.
I mean, if you want to do fiber, great, do fiber, but you got to know what you're getting into.
Right.
And here, where we are, you would have to dock them. You have to keep them. You got to be a little more attentive because they tend to have more problems because of the heat, humidity. You just got to know what you're getting into.
If I'm
going to focused
textiles, I have brown cotton, green cotton, and white cotton. And that's where I'm going to start. If I'm going to get into textiles, would be cotton.
Grant, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yes.
You said that you could run 24 goats, and right there would be the majority of your income.
I would say not the majority of my income, but a significant portion. If it's
so, why aren't you doing that now?
That's what we just got the farm, so we're running fence. That's what we're actively running for. That's why I'm doing so much horse trading, is because I don't trust sale barns. Sometimes you'll have a good thing run through, and you'll get it. And I don't really want to put too much stock in risking just building a herd from the cattle barn.
I mean, pick your breeder, right? I mean, at least half your herd's your sire. Get a good sire from somebody.
We have an excellent sire. I'll put a picture in the men's forum chat. He is excellent.
My best animals have come from talking to old men at the feed store.
Yeah. But like I'm kind of going mixed dairy. I got a La Mancha, she was essentially free. So I'm looking to, and I have several good does. So I've got about 9 does right now that I'm looking to cross with the Boer Savannah mix, and then his kids and all the other does. After that, I'm looking to cross with a huge Kiko buck. Again, when I say he's as big as me, he's as big as me, and I will put that picture in the men's forum chat so you can share it because he's extremely impressive.
I mean that if I had my situation with the goats, if it was Boer or Kiko or something like that, I that'd have been fine. But they were pygmies. They were
and so I'm gonna get into doing pygmies because I have some that are small. They're really good moms. That they're really good color. Sell them to the pet market. $150 a bottle fed goat. You don't gotta wait till they're grown and you sold them for more than you'd sell a 90-day, buck for.
I had a bunch of white ones I took to the sale and they went for $125 a piece.
Yeah. And if you were to creep feed them, you would do everything you need to do, beef them up. It would be to just supplement the nursery sales, supplement the introductory chicken sales, to supplement the introductory vegetable sales. And I went ahead and posted that picture if you didn't want to share it.
Nothing's working on my side right now.
Okay.
Yeah, baby animals sell better everywhere.
Yeah.
I raised goat, sheep, rabbits, chickens. They sell babies for twice as fast.
Mm. So, and I'm just, I know goats. I've had a lot of experience with goats. Though, and I have personally managed our goats for the last, 14 years. My dad, when we moved, he had some, and at some point it eventually became, they were mine. And so I just kind of been managing them, bringing them in, and we're sitting on some very good genetics from a starter herd. We don't have the goat fund to go out and buy. I want to go out and buy 2 dozen does from a proven farm. I know she has good goats, good animals. They do perfect with this buck, and we don't really have the funds for that quite yet.
Hey man, I gotta tell you, man, I got a buddy of mine told me a story. His dad had goats, and he bought a $12,000 prize.
Broke his leg right off the trailer.
Did I tell you that one already?
No, my teacher.
Really did.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
my teacher. His sister raised ADGA registered boars. I cannot stand registered livestock. It increases the zeros for absolutely no reason most of the time. She had bought a $27,000 prize winning herd sire, and it broke its leg in the barn.
This one got off the trailer, mounted the doe, and broke his leg in the process.
Oh, I would cry.
Yeah.
I would cry.
Horrible.
Yeah.
What you're saying though, like I'm gonna go get an Angus bull to freshen our jerseys. We've got 3 full-blooded jerseys right now. We have one that's quarter Angus, 3/4 Jersey, but we're gonna get an Angus bull. I don't care about papers. I just want something that's gonna make me a good crossed meat animal.
For me, I am going to tailor my herd, our cows, towards smaller frames. I would personally want to cross them with Southpaw. That is where I have landed. That's where I have stuck when it comes to who's going to be the sire to all of our cows. I think 2 of them are bred. One of them is a Hereford Highland mix, and I think she's bred. And then I have a Lowline, she's the one I just got, and she's like 2 months. Should be technically 2 months.
There we go. I figured it out.
The one in the middle is a Weather. He's gotten sold. And then the 2 big boys in the back is Father and Son. And that little brown doe on the right is, she had a good kid. But yeah,
there's some long beards there.
There's some long beards, long horns, and big guts. Those are some good goats. And hopefully they will spread their genetics really well.
Nice. Those are cool looking goats.
They are. They are fun to tangle with. They'll sideswipe you in the chute so fast.
Nice.
No, Homestead Padre had to drop.
I guess so. I was wondering what happened. We're missing somebody. Nice. That's cool. Thanks for sharing that, Grant.
Thank you.
All right. What do you guys want to wrap up on?
Yeah, I don't know.
Tips to stay focused?
Sure.
Tips to stay focused.
Okay.
Let's see. Know what your goal is. Know what your purpose is. Know what you're doing. That's the one thing, I say it all the time with my classmates. None of them know what their focus is. They're in here getting this degree. Yes, the degree is very broad spectrum. It opens more doors, more paths for learning than it has closed, which is a good thing. I spoke to my teacher today about a vineyard wanting me to grow rootstock for them for his vineyard because there's not a grower here near him. And he said, I got a book on vineyard culture. I'll give it to you. He's 78 years old. This stuff he was forced and required to learn in school that we do not require anymore. You're just going to go randomly pick up a book on vineyard culture. Oh, yeah. Hey, I've got one. It's crazy. But know what you're doing. These people the only other person who has come in with a very sound goal is her and her mom want to be flower farmers. They had a crop of tulips this year and they sold them. I spoke with her for about 40 minutes today, giving her wholesalers to go to online to order dahlias, who to buy, seeds from to start. South Georgia Seed Company. They're in Georgia. They're like an hour from you. The seeds you will get from them are going to be perfect. I have never had a seed from them not germinate, and they have always been an excellent crop. And then just, different things that, I figured out. If you were to buy wholesale soil mixtures from wholesaler from the store, I can give you a mixture where you can make it for cheaper. It's about half the cost of buying it wholesale bulk in bags. Know what you're doing and get it done. That's all I can really say. Know what drives you. Don't forget it, because you will.
Very nice. Scott.
Yeah, I think the big thing is find your niche down, niche, however you pronounce it, right?
Niche.
Yeah.
The opposite of that.
Niche down. Be consistent with your brand. I mean, I'm real tempted to take on too much stuff, and then I've got a whole book full of things I need to do, and I get spread too thin, and then you don't meet your goals. So, that's the whole thing. You would think that niching down would remove and make it too narrow and your audience would be too small. But, that's the way to go.
Dude, there is a guy I follow on TikTok. All he does is trim cow hooves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He has 1.5 million followers on TikTok, and it's just never seen his face. It's just him trimming a hoof and talking about the problem with the hoof. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Like, people have started like memeing it, like where they like peel potato because it kind of looked like a hoof. The way it like scooping ice cream is pretty funny. But
seeds have a memory. So,
yes, they do.
Yep. Long story. How do you working so hard, long hours, and you're opening a small grocery store? What are you calling it?
We're just calling it. We're calling it Farms on Main. We're going to operate under our same farm LLC. Because we already have, insurance. We can sell our poultry process on farm direct to consumer using that same company. That's one of the important aspects of that. But no, we're just calling it Farms on Main. It'll be local farm produce and zero waste refillery will be the way we position it.
What is the
Kind of
zero waste refillery, if you don't mind me?
It just means that you can come in with your own container and fill it up with from bulk, from like a bulk dispenser. So you could come in and go, hey, I need, 5 pounds of flour. Okay. Scoop out 5 pounds of flour into your own bag. We'll weigh it, and off you go. And
nice.
there's no waste.
That's like a old school mercantile. I love that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So how do you stay focused? You got a lot. You're taking on a lot. So how do you stay focused?
One of the things that's I think it illustrates this point is the store is definitely taking away cash and other resources from the farm, right? I mean, but we kind of view it as cornerstone to marketing the farm. So I'm trying to stay focused on creating this market. It's a big step for the community. It's something the community wants. Very excited about. A lot of support from the community. We just need to get it open. We're going to push all the chips to the center of the table on this. Get that open, and then work as hard as we can on the farm to fill it up with produce. Both. We're permitted or licensed depending on the type of product, but we can do produce, eggs, and meat. The only thing we don't have that you have to have a certification for in the farm space is we don't have a permit for honey. We plan to eventually get a certified commercial kitchen installed, and then we'll start doing some prepared foods, and we'll be able to sell things to complement the meat, for example, sauce or whatever. Jams and jellies, that's home-based business stuff. We probably won't touch that unless somebody wants to sell their stuff there.
Okay.
But we would do perishables that you can't sell from a home-based business, like salad dressing, sauces, things like that complement the other products in the store. That's the idea.
Yeah, I have
those are high margin compared to the meat.
Yep, I have some friends that when they were looking at that and putting in a commercial kitchen, they ended up buying a food truck, and they used the food truck for their commercial kitchen.
Yeah, South Carolina requires a commissary kitchen for the food truck, so we'd have to have access to a kitchen either way.
No, really.
So what we're actually thinking of doing is getting our kitchen set up and then allowing others to lease it as a complement our income. Mm-hmm. They would be able to use it from 7 p.m. to midnight or something like that. They could come in, do whatever they need to do for their food truck.
Rent that space for all that. Yeah.
That's where you do the jams and jellies if you're making jams and jellies. Yeah.
Nice. That's pretty
for the
sweet.
gift shop.
Yep.
Well, I've been asking myself lately. Go ahead. No. Finish your point.
I was just going to say my point being that that the motivation, like Grant said, keep in mind why you're doing what you're doing, and our goal is to heal the land, heal the animals, and heal the humans, and build community. So we're going to start.
You know what? I want to speak on that if I can. That is why I'm doing this, and my parents have rearranged somewhat their current life to kind of get me there, so I can make it happen. They're catching me on the front, so I can catch them in the back. In the meantime, we're healing the earth. We're healing what we've been given to steward, which is not just the land and the animals within our care. It's ourselves. It's our spouses. It's our family. It's our communities. I'm not going to go farm up 1.2 million acres and feed, the country next to me. I'm going to do that on 2 acres and feed my community, the people who will matter if anything were ever to happen to knock us back 300 years. People have really lost sight of actual true community. And
hyper-localism.
That's really what this is starting to turn into, is feed your community. And you're starting to build that by doing what we're doing, by healing the soil. We're not farming animals. We're not farming vegetables. We're farming the ground. We're farming the dirt. That's what we're building. That is the foundation to everything we're doing. And keeping that, what you had said, long story, is pretty much the best way you could phrase that.
Thanks, man. I'm going to quote myself on Twitter then.
Yeah, that's
everyone else does.
I mean, it's a very powerful, very short way of describing the entire movement. What Matt is doing, Scott is doing, you're doing, I'm doing, Padre, all these people are starting to come into this space, make their own path, however grand it will become, we're all working on different levels for different purposes and different reasons, with different motivations that brought us to this. Don't forget your motivations. My motivation for me to even wake up was when the scale passed 320 pounds. I'm 5'11", 6'1". I get a different answer every time I get measured. But that number on the scale, regardless of how tall you are, is not a good number. And then that's what's got me to pay attention to what's in our food. How do you correct that? And I went from, wanting to do a vegetable garden to now having significant steps in place to do protein farming. I about lost my mother 2 weeks ago, which I guess would have been a personal event. She is very hefty. If we had not gotten to her 30 seconds sooner, I would not have her anymore. Very traumatizing. 911, she turned blue, non-responsive. The doctors don't know what was wrong. They said, it was a fainting spell. That wasn't a fainting spell. And the only way to truly heal ourselves is our food. Any vitamin deficiency you have, anything, comes from what you consume. It comes from your food, which comes from the soul. If you're doing pasture chickens, your pasture chickens are eating grass, or bugs are attracted to that grass. You got to have a good, healthy soil to attract the bugs that makes your chicken such a good product. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing this for your kids, if you're doing this, and you will be dissuaded, you will be put to the test, you will be in tears at night thinking, am I even supposed to be here? Is this the path meant for me to happen? And if you're being met with such resistance that is not normal resistance, you're on the right path. You're where you've been placed to be. When you have things that fall into place for you that you don't deserve, that you quite haven't proven yet, when things fall in place like that, you're there. You're headed that way, and things will try to get in your way, and don't let them.
I think we need to end it there. I got all my comments. I got nothing compared to that.
Preach it, Grant.
Yeah, I have become very much and very preachy lately, and it's been hit on the nose. My sister came back into our lives this past week.
Oh, wow.
After about being gone for almost 2 years, no contact, out of the blue. And it has been a lot of emotion. And this was after my mom's health scare, and she's not my sister anymore. She's not the same person I grew up with. She's not the same person who left. Coming back, a lot of things have happened, and I'm still guarding my heart because, a wolf came in and kind of messing things up, and I don't know if she's coming back as a snake or not. And, I hope I get my sister back. And if I do, then I do. If not, I don't. So it's been good. Everything's been good, and will always continue to be good.
Grant's on fire tonight.
He is. All right. Let's wrap it up on there. Grant, you're first.
I am too busy with babies. Yeah, I have grandiose ideas. I'm working on them. I'm really, really interested in what Scott is doing with his nut trees and fruit trees. Next year, we're going to go full. We're going to jump in. We're going to get a couple thousand trees, fruit trees, nut trees, all that through the state forestry department. I love what he's doing with Flipper and his
Flipper.
Is that what Flipper and his website, All Gardening Advice. I really want to start doing something like that. You can make videos. I've been a lot more active on Twitter. I don't really like the video aspect of TikTok. I do like the, interactive aspect of Twitter and doing the blog, which I really want to get more into. I just got to figure out how. I have a lot of adventures that very well much need to be on paper.
I took it down for some reason, but
adventures.
God dang it! I missed it.
I don't know. I
was trying to think.
Account.
Oh, it's at Payne Homestead on Twitter. That's where he is.
Okay.
At Payne Homestead, yeah.
And the math problem Scott had said is, I bought four goats and 1 cow. I sold 3 of the goats and something else. How much did I make? Essentially. So I basically got a $1,000 cow by the time it was said and done for about $600 and a free goat. That's how the math broke down. So
nice.
Like that.
Thanks, Grant.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Yep. Check out the podcast this week. Homestead Padres on this coming weekend. And then Grow Nut Trees. We've got lots of new trees. And one of the things that I'm looking at this year is like growing horseradish and things. You just can't find horseradish or some of these perennials around here. Nobody sells them.
The only place you can get horseradish that I found is off eBay.
Well, yeah. So I was like digging some up and separate them and put them into different pots. And
asparagus crowns.
Yep.
If you could start doing that too, I want to start doing that just for myself. I want to plant 100 asparagus crowns every year from seed for the next 6 years. Because at the farm, my great grandmother's farm, we were bush hogging, and I'm like, this is old dried up asparagus fern. And so this year I marked it off, staked it up, and I went out there. There's asparagus. So I cut the grass, cut around the asparagus, and I'm going to essentially build that into a raised bed.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how old that asparagus is, but that farm has been done, neglected, and left for the last 40 years. And there's asparagus still growing in the backyard. People need asparagus.
Yeah. Have you had purple asparagus?
I have.
And then asparagus is so good when it's fresh. It's like
you eat it raw.
I hate it. Yeah.
You eat it raw. It's wonderful.
Juicy and everything. It's great.
I have both varieties of the purple asparagus, and it's very nice.
Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
Angry. Long story.
Hey, man, if you're near us, check out the web store. You can find it on our Facebook page. There's also links on Twitter. When we get the store open, we'll let everyone know, and you should come see us on Main Street in Newberry, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
You get some of the pumpkin seeds, I'll drive to you.
I got them, man. Let me know.
Yeah, I want to see that. That'll be awesome.
Wasn't it a watermelon?
It is a watermelon. I have both. I know he has both. He has that pumpkin.
Pumpkin that tastes like watermelon and a watermelon that tastes like a pumpkin.
Looks like a pumpkin.
I got Dutch fork pie pumpkin. I've got what we think is maybe Ravenswood or some cross with the Odell or something like that.
I'm needing both those seeds.
3 different varieties of watermelon, white seeded watermelon. And I've got a bunch of peas and limas and other stuff that I've picked up.
I'll bring
okra. I've got an okra that's supposed to be better than Clemson spineless. We enjoy it. So quite a few different things we've got that are all these heirlooms, and
I need to see.
We'll be carrying those in the store. By the way, we will be selling the seed.
That's awesome.
Alrighty, that sounds
very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, my mushroom block that I got that was supposed to be spent has bloomed 3 times.
They're never spent.
I got like a gallon of mushrooms out of it total.
They're spent in quotations because their productivity drops. The mycelium is still alive and still.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's just not worth the effort for them to keep harvest. Yeah.
Need some good quiche.
I'm gonna plug for Padre real quick. He is the loaf king. Old Old
His
Pat's
website-
Homestead in
his
South
website is
Mississippi.
back up and running. He had it down for a bit, but it is back up. Go check him out. He's got good hot sauce, good soap. He's a good guy.
His hot sauce is amazing.
It's very good. I bought a bottle.
Yeah.
And
Got like 3 different types. Is that one is just
I had the mango habanero. That was really
that's
good.
the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that's great.
All right. And I'm Matt DeRozier, farmhoplife.com. We are a traveling hosted family. What does that mean? It means we go to other places like these guys here. I haven't physically been there, but I've talked to each one of them and figured out what they do and how they do it. And it changes all the time. So that's why I have to keep having them come back. And then, turn it into a podcast. Do this men's forum, other interviews. I did famous farmers for a while. I might keep doing that, but follow me, Farm Up Life, everywhere. All right. Appreciate you guys coming on, catching up. It's been good. So,
Long story.
yeah, I want that story, long story. All right. See you guys later.
Long one.
Take care.